Welcome into another mock draft by Flostradamus Jeremy Greene here in Sportsocracy, coming to you from the Ingles studio. This is now the fifth mock draft of the...
And there's going to be so many more.
The Draftmas season is upon us.
The next ones will be team-specific, and you got a lot of things coming, especially after I come back from Mobile, Alabama. And the Senior Bowl, the draft starts in Mobile.
That's going to be a fun
I've gotten 4,000 emails that have said the draft starts in Mobile.
All right, let's get into it here. 31 picks in this first round.
And I figure I might as well just go ahead and piss somebody off right off the jump.
Number one pick belongs to the Chicago Bears.
Bryce Young, the quarterback out of Alabama. But what about Justin Fields? What the fuck about him? You have the chance to take a generational quarterback at one. Chicago, you got gifted. Just absolutely gifted. The number one pick in this draft. And, yeah, you could, in theory, trade down. But I want you to ask yourself just a handful of questions here. One, what exactly do you think you're trading down for? This is not a great draft at the high side. I mean, I have two blue-chip players. I have two that are threatening it. And then there's a lot of players that are basically the same guy. Scheme fit, things like that. All right, so let's just say, for the old shits and giggles, trade down with Indianapolis. I don't think they're an option because they seem to be on Will Levis. Preliminarily, I know it's not decided yet. I'm well aware of that. That could change. They seem to be locked on Will Levis right now. All right, so let's just say they weren't, and they wanted to come up to 4. What are you going to get? All right, so you go down to 4, you wind up with Will Anderson or Jalen Carter, one or the other.
Mm-hmm.
They're both good players. All right, so you get that and a 1 next year. Okay. You still have Justin Fields as your quarterback, who's still horribly limited. Good receivers are not going to want to play with.
But he runs so well.
Okay. So does Usain Bolt. He's not a quarterback. I mean, if you want to continue going 3-14, that's fine. Ride with Justin Fields, trade down to 4, get a couple extra picks with your franchise that has historically just been a disaster picking players. This is a layup. You take Bryce Young, and then you make a move with Justin Fields that we will get to momentarily.
At number 2, the Houston Texans. Number 2, the Houston Texans have the pick here.
Didn't always work for you. Houston, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know how you screwed this up, but you did. And now you're very lucky that CJ Stroud decided to come out because that's your pick here at number 2. You take CJ Stroud. You hope he's your franchise quarterback. If I was doing percentages, I'm at 90% Bryce Young will become a franchise quarterback in the NFL. CJ Stroud, I'm no better than 50.
Wow.
I'm no better than 50.
Mighty drop-off.
And I'm no better than 50 with Will Levis. I'm no better than 50 with any other quarterback in this class. You took the sure thing away because you had to get that win against the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, you know who also got to live that? The Jets fan. That was the difference between Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. Enjoy that win. I'm sure it made you feel warm and fuzzy for, 45 seconds. And it cost you Bryce Young.
Yep.
So you take C.J. Stroud at 2. You're going to have to put weapons around him. The good thing is you have the 12th pick in the draft. I'll give you one guess what you're taking there. Because you're going to go into next year with John Mechie and Nico Collins as your 1-2. Not a great start.
Number 3 pick belongs to the Arizona Cardinals.
Will Anderson Jr.
I mean, this is a no-brainer, right?
It is, but there's this. Look, I need to temper expectations on Will Anderson. His high side is very good. You also have to remember the talent that was playing around him, and you also have to remember the mental mistakes that there were a lot of penalties on this kid.
Oh, especially this past year, yeah.
So, do I think he's going to be a fantastic edge rusher? I do. Do I also think he's going to struggle to hold up against the run? I do. He's not this giant human that he's made out to be. He's about 240 pounds. So to me, he plays better as an off-ball outside linebacker than he does as a straight defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of scheme-specific. We don't know exactly what's going to happen in Arizona. They've always been big into height, weight, speed. So I think he's a nice fit with Arizona if they keep a lot of those components in place. I'm afraid with Will Anderson, he's never going to be Von Miller, and that's going to keep people – that'll make people think he was a bit of a bust.
Yes.
Because I think he's way more Chandler Jones, and I feel good about that, than that he ever becomes the best edge rusher in the league.
I feel like anything short of a 5-time All-Pro, and he's going to be considered a bust.
So that's my fear, is that you go to Arizona, there's almost no chance you're going to become that. I mean, because they have nothing that rushes the passer outside of you. So it's going to take some time. It'll start slow, and I don't have a ton of faith in that front office. Now, I love the kid. I think he's a very good player. I would just like him in a few other scenarios better than I would like him in Arizona.
4th pick belongs to the Indianapolis Colts.
And gets our guy. It's Will Levis. I know a lot of you don't like him, and that's fine. You're totally allowed to not like him. I hate to break this to you, and I'm going to say this about another quarterback before this here mock draft is over. Get over it. Because he's going to go in the top 5. There is zero doubt in my mind. None. But he only completed like blah, blah, blah. I get it. The talent he had at Kentucky versus what he was going up against is night and day. Mm-hmm. He was also in a new system that he didn't fit particularly well. There's a reason they fired that coordinator after a year and went back to Liam Cohen. That happened for a reason, because it was pretty much a disaster. Had some injury issues. I think on the high side, he's Josh Allen. On the low side, he's Jake Locker. There's not a lot of in between to me.
Wow.
That's
a hell of a swing.
Well, I mean, that's it's as honest about it as I can be. If you think back to Jake Locker, he didn't have anything around him. And he had Jeff Fisher trying to coach him up.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to be, to me, Indy is one of the most interesting teams in the league. Because whoever you hire as that next coach, A, it better be an offensive guy. B, it better be a guy that knows how to mold a quarterback. The funny thing is that Frank Reich might have been the best choice for that. But, well, yeah, you pulled the cord on that pretty quick.
Well, Will Levis used to a good running game in college.
I think he's an ideal fit with Indianapolis.
I was going to say, lo and behold, he goes to Indianapolis where he's got Jonathan Taylor.
He's got arm talent that will absolutely intoxicate you. I mean, absolutely intoxicate. I could count on one hand the number of quarterbacks I've ever seen that the ball came off their hand the way it does with Will Levis.
Number 5, the Denver pick belongs to the Seattle Sea Chickens because of the Russell Wilson trade.
And it just gets worse from here, because this is Jalen Carter. Go ahead, defend your guy.
I feel like he's got the potential to be an all-timer. I'm not saying greatest. Some people talking about Aaron Donald and Warren Sapp and all this with Jalen Carter. Obviously, that's a little early. But this guy can get after it. He creates pressure up the middle like very few do.
I don't disagree with anything you just said. There's one thing that bugs the shit out of me. He has 6 sacks in 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Aaron Donald. That you're comparing. There's another one. You're comparing him to the wrong guy. He has a good future in the NFL. I've said I think he can be the best player off that defense, because I do think he can be a 3-down lineman in this league. I'm also afraid that he's going to have the same problem that Trayvon Walker did, that he comes in, there's some inconsistency, and all of a sudden, oh, what did you idiots do? And he doesn't throw up stats. He's a freak of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Athletically, he will test off the charts.
I'd love to know the number of pressures he had.
It's high.
It's very high.
Very high.
I think that's part of the fact that he didn't have the stats. He doesn't have all the sacks. It's because all those studs on that defense, he created the pressure, and somebody was right behind him to clean it up.
And that's all well and good, but he had a lot of talent around him. Mm-hmm. All right, so take Seattle, for example. Other than Boye Mafe and I mean, it's a lot of guys that are decent situational pass rushers.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I really worried about? The one thing I will say is I do like the idea of having Jamal Adams behind him doing what he does, and now I can find ways to generate pressure. Jalen Carter was the focal point of that defense this year, and there were times he would get double-teamed, and I'd forget he was on the field.
Right.
That's unsettling. But, all right, so I asked you this the other day. In terms of prospect, who do you see as a better prospect, Jalen Carter or Quinnen Williams?
I guess Quinnen.
It's Quinnen. It's not even close.
I mean,
it's Quinnen. It's not even close.
yeah.
I mean, Quinnen Williams came into the league on a bad defense and is the second best defensive tackle in this league. And I don't even think that's debatable at this point. I don't know that Jalen Carter is ever going to be that, because my comp to him is Calais Campbell. That's who I think he will be in the NFL. And if he is, Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
But I don't know that people are ever going to view him that way. He will be a defensive tackle that went in the top 5. And you'll go Quinnen Williams, Jalen Carter. 15 sacks a year. As he had, I think, 12 and a half this year. 5. People that watch the game, they'll understand. Jalen Carter, phenomenal. People that don't, it's going to be, well, he was good, and you'll see those stupid mock draft review things, and it'll give it a B-. Stop. He's good, just very good. Just set the expectation appropriately.
The number 6 pick belonged to the LA Rams, but they gave that up to the Detroit Lions. So the Detroit Lions almost make the playoffs and still end up with a top 6 pick here. Where are they going to go?
This is a player that will be very polarizing throughout the entire process. It's Tyree Wilson, the defensive lineman from Texas Tech. If you want to talk height, weight, speed, he is subhuman. He's 6'7", 260 pounds. He's very lean, can play inside, can play outside. There's really nothing he can't do. I even think he could stand up in theory. The problem is that the tape was really inconsistent. And it's ironic that he winds up with the Detroit Lions, because I'll tell you who he reminds me of. Ezekiel Ansah. The good is really good. The bad is almost non-existent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where he falls in for me. He's a little light to me to play on the inside, which is where I see him. I see him being that move piece that you can put in a Trayvon Walker. Same kind of guy. Does he do any one thing great? No. But there's a raw skill set here that if you develop him, he could be the best player in his class. It would shock me in the least. There is a path that 5 years from now we look at this and go, do you remember when we thought Will Anderson and Jalen Carter were better than Tyree Wilson? There's also a path that 5 years from now we go, can you believe somebody took Tyree Wilson in the top 10?
Right.
So I would say he has a very high bust rate. He has a pretty high hit rate too, because the good is phenomenal.
The Las Vegas Raiders come up at number 7. You got them going with, number 1 need.
Look, I boo-boo kiddied the guy that this guy replaced, and I ain't making that mistake again. It's Peter Skoronski. Either you get it or you don't. Well, he's got 32-inch arms. I don't care if he's got a 32-inch dick. I don't care. Watch the damn tape.
That would be impressive.
That would be impressive. I don't care. That just doesn't matter to me. Because I'm going to say the same thing I said about Rashawn Slater.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he's scheme specific to play left tackle. Well, there's 5 spots on the offensive line. And to me, his low side is Quentin Nelson as a guard. Would you take that at 7?
100%.
There you go. End of message, repeat the line. I feel like I hit on Dylan Parham last year, missed aggressively on Alex Leatherwood. I got 3 spots on this line I need to fill.
Mm-hmm.
I know he's going to fill one of them. Do I know definitively it's going to be left tackle? No, I don't. I don't know that. I didn't know it with Rashawn Slater either. And, well, he's pretty damn good. But you watch the tape on a guy that's got just a massive talent deficiency everywhere he's played. He shows out everywhere. Doesn't give up pressures. Very talented. To me, it's a layup, and I keep seeing people push him down boards, and I don't understand why.
And the number 8 pick in the 2023 NFL Draft belongs to the Atlanta Falcons, however.
But what if it didn't? What if the Chicago Bears, who just got their franchise quarterback in Bryce Young, made a little jingle over to Arthur Smith and went, hey, Arthur, you know what you really like? You like mobile quarterbacks that can throw off play action. Well, I got one of those, and we're going to cut you a hell of a deal because we want that 8th pick because there's a player that I really want here, and I'm willing to go conditional on the 2nd pick. And here's how I think this would go. Justin Fields is worth about a 1 and a 3 right now. That's what I've been told across the league. I thought it was a 2 this year, a conditional 1 next year. So now I've kind of melded it together. 8 is not a great place to be in this draft because there's not a quarterback that anybody's going to trade up for here because the top 3 are already gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you give him 8. You give him a conditional 3 next year. If you make the playoffs, it becomes a 2. If he makes the Pro Bowl and you make the playoffs, it becomes a 1. Chicago's happy. Atlanta's happy. We're all hunky-dunky.
Okay.
And now Atlanta has a quarterback with Drake London and Kyle Pitts that I can sell that. You know what I can't sell? I can't sell Justin Fields with Chase Claypool, who I gave up a 2 for, and Cole Kmet and Darnell Minnick because I've seen it. 2 years in, I've seen it. He's a great runner. Whoop-de-damn-do. But now you put him in an offense that's one of the best rushing offenses in the league, and now I think you could start making those comps to Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
But you need an Arthur Smith. You don't need Matt Eberflus doing this. And I like Luke Getsy, but you're asking somebody to do something he's never done before. That doesn't make any sense to me. Go to Arthur Smith, the mad scientist, let him take the ball of clay and turn it into a lovely Pro Bowl quarterback, which I think he actually could do.
All right, so the Atlanta Falcons send the number 8 pick to the Chicago Bears, and with it, they will select
Quentin Johnston, wide receiver out of TCU.
Oh, he's nasty.
Mm-hmm. And now I have Chase Claypool as a 2 and Darnell Mooney as my slot guy and Cole Kmet at tight end. I can bring back David Montgomery if I want to, or I can ride with Khalil Herbert. Yeah, that sounds much more palatable. Oh, yeah, and by the way, I have like a bajillion dollars to go upgrade my offensive line. Oh, okay. You see how that's better? Do you see how that's better than asking Ryan Poles to make a deal for the number 1 pick where you're going to be getting picks 2 years from now, and he might be selling car insurance by then? That doesn't make any sense. This makes a lot of sense. So if you're a Bears fan and you think I'm an idiot, feel free to chuck it in the comments. But be prepared. I'm the one that's going to be coming with the comment of, you tell me why you like it better to ride with Justin Fields and trade down for draft picks where you might have a completely different administration by the time they come around.
Chicago's offense just got a whole lot better.
Yeah, you now become a really good offense in a division where you got Minnesota, who I think is going to regress, Green Bay, who I think is going to regress. It's you in Detroit. Good Lord, there's something I never thought I'd say. It's a winnable division, but you have to go winnable it.
Yep. Number 9, the Carolina Panthers. Will this be a quarterback, or will they go a different direction?
All right, so for right here it is, because I don't know what they're going to do with Sam Darnold. I know the coach is. I feel like the coach is going to want their own quarterback. Sam Darnold's still a young guy. I don't know what the contract's going to look like. I don't know what any of those things look like. I'm taking the roster as it sits right now. At 9, I have him taking Tanner McKee. He's big-bodied Davis Mills.
All right. I was going to say, sell me on it.
He's big-bodied Davis Mills.
That didn't really sell me.
With a much better arm.
Okay, all right.
With a much better arm. You put the right weapons around him, and this offense can be really good. Now, I have him taking Jahmyr Gibbs in the second round, which, okay, now we're doing stuff because I feel like the line got better. The line progressed to a point that I can sell that. I just don't know if Sam Darnold's the point guy. Depends on who the coach is. With Ben Johnson, I was all in on Sam Darnold. I changed this pick this morning. Mm-hmm. Ben Johnson said, I'm not taking a head coaching job. Okie dokie. Because I don't like Ken Dorsey or Mike Kafka or any of those guys with Sam Darnold. That makes me nervous.
Number 10, Philadelphia Eagles.
Myles Murphy, the edge out of Clemson.
This kid's incredible.
He is, and I'm sure somebody's going to say, well, how did he get all the way to 10? Well, because you had 4 quarterbacks in the top 9, because you have a lot of quarterback-needy teams. I'm also not 100% sure how 3 down he's going to be. He's a luxury pick because this is a kid that's going to come in and rush the passer immediately. But is he going to do everything else? Is he going to be a player that you can leave in on first down? Because as of right now, what I see is a kid that's big enough. He's not big per se. Because he's listed at 275. I got news for you. If he's 275, I'm 330. Because there is no way that kid's that big. And I feel like he has to go to a specific team. If you take him in Seattle, for example, he has to be the number 1 edge rusher off the jump. In Philadelphia, I can groom you into this. And this strikes me so much as what Philadelphia would do. Bring him in. Got Hassan Reddick. Got Brandon Graham. He's the ultimate replacement to Graham. And just go down the rabbit hole.
To me, that is the best scenario for him to
No doubt.
go to a place where he can grow a little bit, get acclimated to the pro game. Because I don't know, I guess there's some holes in his development.
He plays too upright.
Yeah,
he's played against substandard competition for the vast majority of his career, and he's speed to power. He's as good as you'll ever see in terms of being able to shift gears and now just get you off the edge with a spin move or whatever the case may be, and translate speed and power. He's fantastic. The problem is that I could say, like Jordan Mailata, I'll use the tackle on the team that I'm drafting him to. Somebody that's that big, I could see him just completely mitigating him. Mm-hmm. Josh Sweat had this same problem. It worked out pretty damn well, and I think it would work out pretty well for Philadelphia here.
Tennessee Titans have the 11th pick.
Oh, this is a guy that I'm going to have a lot of arguments about over the next 3 months.
Okay.
Michael Mayer, tight end out of Notre Dame.
I like that.
So, and
Tom
you know why
Brady
you like
needs
that?
a good tight end.
You know why you like that? Because you're smart, and because you realize what Michael Mayer is. But he's a tight end. Yeah.
I got no reaction out of you on that one. I love that.
You're Tom Brady shit. He's out of the playoffs. I'm impervious to Tom Brady bullshit.
But Michael Mayer, yeah, best tight end in the class, not even close.
He's the most complete tight end that's come out in, I don't even remember how long. It's been many years because he's the best blocking tight end in this class too. And he's got sweet hands. I think he's going to run faster than people believe. He's just very fluid. He's a very good player to me, and this is a class where I'm going to take the sure thing when I can take the sure thing. And to me, he's a sure thing.
Mm-hmm. Number 12, Houston Texans. Can they get a sure thing?
Jordan Addison, wide receiver out of USC.
Okay, I didn't think it was possible, but I think they did.
It's the Brandon Cooks replacement. He comes in, you trade Brandon Cooks because he is a malcontent again. And now you've got Mechie, you've got Jordan Addison, you got Nico Collins. Do you necessarily have a 1? No, but you haven't had the chance at a 1.
Mm-hmm.
Could you potentially go get one? Sure, you could. But it's going to be through a trade, not through the draft.
I was going to say, who knows? Jordan Addison with CJ Stroud throwing to him, that could very well turn into a one situation.
I think Jordan Addison gets punished for maybe not being. I think he's been too consistent.
That sounds weird.
Well, you watch him and you never see like, wow, holy Quentin Johnson plays. No, he's just always open. Like, he's always open. It's never not the case. And he plays in the Pac-12. He did in the ACC too.
Mm-hmm.
He started at Pittsburgh, so it's not like I've never seen him play good defenses before. And he's always open.
Lucky number 13. Weird. Jeremy's team ended up with the 13th pick.
For like the 11th time in the last 20 years. Jets, Jets. It's Broderick Jones.
It's a hammer pick.
I cannot go into next year trusting Mekhi Becton. If he's there, awesome. But I would have to go in with the intention that Mekhi Becton is a luxury. Broderick Jones, I think, is ready to play right now, probably on the right side. I would start Elijah Vera Tucker on the left side, if I'm being really honest with you. He's the best left tackle I've seen this team have in many years. He didn't do it for long, and he'd never done it before. But now I have that. I think Broderick Jones, with having Vera Tucker on the left side with Laken Tomlinson, some of the best games he played this year were when Elijah Vera Tucker was on the other side. So to me, that almost unlocks an extra player at the same time, because Laken Tomlinson was largely very bad this year. You still need a center. There are a few of those later in the draft. I seriously considered Brian Branch right here, but I've got a slew of safeties and linebackers that I can get in the day 2 rounds. I can't get a no-doubt left tackle. And I'm not saying he's a left tackle off the jump. Mm-hmm. He will be in time.
Yep. Number 14, New England Patriots.
This one's so stupid to me. And I've seen this guy as low as I think I saw him in the 3rd round in a mock. And I laughed out loud.
Okay. Brian
Brise out of Clemson.
In the third round?
In the 3rd round. There are just a lot of people that they don't like him.
Drunk.
You're getting no disagreement out of me. I don't think he's a top 10 guy, which is where we've been for part of this year.
Mm-hmm.
I also don't think he falls out of the teens. I don't see a possible way that you can have him that low. I mean, and I get the knocks. The production hasn't necessarily been there. I get it. Watch the damn film.
Mm-hmm.
You watch him on film, and it's very obvious how good this kid is. And does this not strike you as something Bill Belichick would do?
Absolutely. You go out and get that no-doubt guy that can clog up the middle of that defense. I love Brian, and
I think
he's
he
been
can
through
be,
a lot of shit this year.
He has.
And, I just hope good things for him. Unfortunately, he's going to go to New England, according to this, and I don't like that too much. But anyway.
He needs to get better against the run. I think he probably projects as a 3-4 defensive end better than anything else in the league. But I think a smart coach is going to be able to get a lot out of him. He's strong as hell.
The Green Bay Packers have the 15th pick.
This one gets hard because so if it's Jordan Love, you need
quarterback.
Everything. There's not a quarterback to take. Although there is one coming pretty soon. I went Cam Smith, corner out of South Carolina. I feel like if you're going to have to ride with Jordan Love, that defense is going to have to be as good as humanly possible, and that's one of the only places that I see a spot. I love Cam Smith. He's one of my favorite players in this draft, and the more I look at him, the more I think if he can come in as a 2 as opposed to having to be a 1, which he would in Green Bay, that's really encouraging to his development for me. And I think he fits the scheme perfectly. I think he is the ideal 2. And if you're Green Bay, you just have to try to run the ball, play really good defense, and hide Jordan Love. That's your only path to being good, but it's a winnable division.
Mm-hmm.
I could easily see a path that they're Tampa Bay of next year, where the division just falls apart around them. And not really because something would have to happen to Detroit.
I was going to say.
But, I mean, would it shock you if they came out and went 7-10? Oh, it's a great upstart. Okay. And you lose some of the magic.
Yeah.
You don't bring back DJ Chark. Now it's just Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jared Goff.
And Jameson Williams.
Who I would really like to see stay healthy. Every time I saw him on a field, I went, good Jesus, that kid weighs like $130. He's fast as hell, but he weighs about $130.
Right. All right, Cam Smith, the corner out of South Carolina, to the Green Bay Packers at number 15. Number 16 goes to the Washington Commanders.
This is one of my favorite picks of the entire draft. It's Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State.
Now, is this just the player with the team you love the matchup here, or is this like the greatest value?
All of it.
Okay.
Look, Washington is telling coordinator candidates, you better go into next year planning on Sam Howell being your quarterback, because that's who we're planning on it being. And so I look around that team, and I don't know if Paris Johnson is a left tackle, especially not off the jump. I know he has a spot. At worst, he's a right tackle, and he's a player that I know can come in and play right away, and I think play at a high level. He's played all around the offensive line, played some guard, played right tackle, played left tackle this year. That's a malleable piece, which is exactly what I need with a quarterback like Sam Howell, because I need to be able to take players and go, that's one. I don't have definitives, but that's one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've got the receivers right. I feel like I've got the running backs largely right. And now I need to work on this offensive line. Paris Johnson is going to be part of that one way or the other.
At number 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Did somebody put their thumb on the scale here a little bit?
No. It's just,
the Pittsburgh Steelers.
What is the number one thing the Pittsburgh Steelers need?
Defense.
A corner or an offensive lineman, of which there's not one really that makes a whole lot of sense right here unless you want to take a guard, and 17's a little early for that.
Okay.
Well, the best corner on the board just so happens to be the son of a former Pittsburgh Steeler great.
Joey Porter Jr., the corner out of Penn State.
He's big. He's physical. It makes sense. And I didn't just shoehorn this because he's Joey Porter's kid. That didn't hurt anything, but that's not the whole reason that I did it.
Part of me would be surprised if he's still on the board.
It won't for me because there's so many. Between Cam Smith, Joey Porter Jr., Christian Gonzalez, who we haven't mentioned yet, Keely Ringo, who that's coming real soon, and it's a much more difficult prognostication. Joey Porter's pretty easy to understand. He's big, he's physical, he's everything that the Pittsburgh Steelers like. It makes all the sense in the world.
At number 18?
There's where you get Keely Ringo to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
he's your guy. So I'm going to let you say the nice things, and then I'm going to be the asshole.
The nice things, the fact that he's he's just a physical freak, that he is, but that's the problem. And look, I can't say all great things about Keeley because one of the things that he struggles with is being way too damn physical sometimes.
He's too physical. He trusts his physicality a lot. He's going to run ridiculous. He will blow the combine out. As he's 6'2", probably 210, 215, depending on how he comes to the combine, and he's going to run in the low 4.3s. The only problem is that I watch him just get his ass blistered deep, and I go, but where did that 4.35 go right there? Because that dude's not nearly that fast, and he just burns you like a honey ham.
Well, because he's a cheater.
Exactly.
He's a cheater.
And that's the thing. But I feel like the physicality with the right scheme, Aaron Glenn. Somebody like that could really take the physical tools, and he could end up being the best corner out of this class. Mm-hmm. He has the best physical tools. That's not debatable. He also has the worst tape, and it's not really all that close.
Number 19, my Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, you're going to love this one.
What?
Because you what's that thing you need? What's that position that you don't have because you're geriatric? Just retired?
That's a quarterback.
Yeah, Anthony Richardson, quarterback out of Florida. Let's go.
I quit. This is bullshit.
I almost don't see how it doesn't happen.
I will fucking riot.
Will you?
Yes.
But will you, though?
Yes, I will.
I don't think you will because your alternatives are Kyle Trask and Blaine Gabbert. He's better than that.
Well, I mean, he is better than that. But look, I've been through this before. I've been through the hyper-athletic quarterback from a Florida school. I'm fucking good.
Oh, Anthony Richardson is exponentially more athletic than Jameis Winston. He's also exponentially more inaccurate, which is, well, that's hard to do considering Jameis Winston once threw 30 interceptions in a year. Look, the good is really good. Before this year, I said I wasn't going to have a draftable grade on Anthony Richardson because the inaccuracy is so bad. I don't know how you play quarterback in this league. Then we went down the path, and I started seeing the Justin Fields and the Jalen Hurts that had accuracy issues, and neither one is the athletic freak that he is. 6'4", 230, he's built like Cam Newton, and he's faster, and he's got a bigger arm. The only problem is that he could hit his receiver or he could kill a cheerleader that doesn't see a football coming. They're both entirely possible.
Right.
He needs to not play for a year. He's a year away from being a year away. That's the reason Tanner McKee goes ahead of him because is McKee's high side the same? No. But his low side is exponentially better. Anthony Richardson could be out of the NFL in 3 years. It wouldn't shock me in the least. Or you could get a good coach, which you'll have in a year. It's not Todd Bowles. But a good offensive coach could house the talent, and there's no telling what he could become. He's one of the best raw freak athletes I've ever seen. He's just not a quarterback right now.
Yeah.
He's a guy that takes snaps and is really good running the ball, and every once in a while can throw one 72 yards in the air. He needs time, but there is talent there, and it's going to go in the first round.
I'm good. Number 20, the Seattle Seahawks taking another Florida player, Osiris Torrance.
I love this kid so much. I really do. And I know that he's played at two schools, but he played in the same scheme both times because he was with Billy Napier. He's the best guard in this class, and I'm not 100% sure it's all that close. And there's another one that we're going to talk about before this mock draft is over. But Osiris Torrance is 6'5", about 350. He's just a mauler, and he's going to run reasonably quickly. I mean, for a guy that's 350, I projected him at 5'2". Strong as a damn ox. The physical traits are all there. I just think he's kind of scheme-specific, and I have two big dancing bears in Abram Lucas and Charles Cross in Seattle. I think he's the perfect pull guard.
The number 21 pick belonged to the Miami Dolphins.
Not so fast, my friend.
Because they flirted with Tom Brady and Sean Payton in the offseason.
They tried to touch tips with Sean Payton and Tom Brady, and Chinese finger trap.
Yeah, that's what that'll always cost you, at least a first-round draft pick, if not your soul. Number 22 belongs to the Los Angeles Chargers.
I can't stop doing this.
Yeah.
I can't stop doing it.
He's been saying for years, you've got to give them somebody that can run between the tackles. Austin Eckler's not that guy, and anybody they brought in, they just can't get it done.
What's my favorite phrase? Run the damn ball! What's the best way to do that? Go get the second best running back prospect I've ever had, Bijan Robinson out of Texas. He's my number 2 prospect in this class. The only problem is he plays a position that's not all that valuable. So, I mean, he should go in the top 10. NFL teams have figured out, don't take running backs in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Leonard Fournette, Ezekiel Elliott, need I go on? Yeah, you can have a Saquon Barkley, but the draft pick value, if you live by value-based drafting, Bijan Robinson falls somewhere in the 15 to 25 range. To me, it's either the Chargers or the Dallas Cowboys.
The Cowboys taking a running back?
Zeke's done like dinner. But now I can't see a way with the Chargers picking ahead of the Cowboys. I don't see how he falls past them.
And number 23, the Baltimore Ravens.
Hey, you know what you need? Somebody that can catch the damn ball.
That's right. Jalen Hyatt, the wide receiver from Tennessee, that huge 5-touchdown game against Alabama. I think Baltimore Ravens fans would have a little pitching a tent on this one.
He does real fast, real well. I won't be shocked if he runs sub 4.3. He's that fast. This is Marquise Brown in not a little itty-bitty body because he's 6 foot, legitimate 190. I don't know how good of a route runner he's ever going to be. I don't know that in Baltimore I care. I need you to be real fast, take the top off the defense, be the threat because Lamar can hit you, and Lamar is apparently coming back to Baltimore. I'll believe that when I see it. But this is what Marquise Hollywood Brown is. And I feel like he's a better player. I feel like he's a better prospect, and he would fit nicely. Open up those mid-range throws for Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and it takes a defender out of the box against the run. This is one of my favorite fits in the entire draft.
Number 24, the Minnesota Vikings on the clock here, and they're going to go with the wide receiver out of the University of North Carolina, Josh Downs.
Speaking of matches that I like a lot, hey, Adam Thielen's like real good, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting older, but he's still real good. Justin Jefferson's probably the best receiver in the NFL.
One of.
You got T.J. Hawkinson. And K.J. Osborne he's done stuff, right? That's what you always say.
Mm-hmm.
K.J. Osborne has these random games where he's really good. Well, here's the thing. He's not good at football. So if you put a slot receiver in this offense that had, talent, that had actual, legitimate, honest-to-God NFL talent, what do you think that guy would do? They're keeping Kirk Cousins. By hook or by crook, whether they should or not. But we need a defender. Cool. You tell me who that is. You tell me who that guy is at 23 right here that fits in your defense. Nolan Smith? Cool. He might be there when you pick in the second round. Oh, wait. You don't have a second-round pick because you traded it for T.J. Hawkinson. Detroit is going to own this draft, just so we're clear. That's one of my favorite pairings. That allows you to be that fly-high offense because with their financial situation the way it is, you're not going to be able to overhaul that defense in a year. You need to be able to outscore people, and Josh Downs will help with that. He's a little thin. Good route runner, good hands.
All right, the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 25.
They need somebody that will keep Trevor Lawrence from being just absolutely decapitated on a football field. And for me, the best of the offensive tackles have gone the way of the dodo bird at this point. But there is one, and his name is Anton Harrison, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. He's a real good pass blocker. End of message. Repeat the line.
Doesn't do anything else well.
No, he does a lot of things well. It's just almost all of it's in the passing game. He's not the right tackle that's immediately going to be the anchor of your run game. I don't know that I need that. Here's how I see this happening. Walker Little's not a left tackle. He's not. I said it when they drafted him, and I think you saw it against the Chargers. You can move him to the right side. Anton Harrison could play guard early on. Or you could just stick him at left tackle and go, kid, you got to learn this position. You got to protect Trevor. That's the most important part of this. If you have to bring in a tight end or a running back to help him, okay. But I think he can play right away. There's some people think he's a top 20 pick. Others think he should go back into the second round. I fall more in right here. I think this is a nice landing spot. He would play immediately. He can help a team that's in a win-now window. And this is, with Calvin Ridley coming back, you're not going to get a ton of heat because you're going to have Christian Kirk, Calvin Ridley, probably Zay Jones as your 3 receivers with Travis Etienne coming out of the backfield and probably Evan Ingram at tight end. That's a formidable group of weapons.
A lot of wide receiver talent in this draft, and Lord knows the next team needs it. The New York Giants, who would probably play your postman right now if he could run a 9 route.
Look, they found Richie James and Isaiah Hodgins, who have both been, pretty damn good.
Yeah, and Wandale comes back from injury, but you need to add another. Yeah, you need a guy who can be a dominant receiver in this league, and maybe they found one at number 26, Jackson Smith-Njigba from Ohio State.
If it was just talent and he didn't have a suck hole where words came out, he would have been gone long ago. Here's the problem. He does, and he's not. And he's probably not going to be. And if it's not for the Giants, I see a path he falls into the second round. Not playing in the college football playoffs pissed a lot of people off, me included, because he was healthy enough to play, and that's not an opinion. That's been confirmed. You didn't play because you thought Georgia was going to beat your ass. And so you felt like you were not going to gain anything from this game. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. And so that's why you're available at 26. And the fact that you had 5 catches for 43 yards this year. If you go back to the previous year, he would have been a top 10 pick. It's all personality. It's all desire. It's all, does this kid love football? You know who can make him do that? Brian freaking Daboll. And this is another one of those pairings that I'm just drunk on.
Number 27, the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, you know that thing that you try to tell me you do so well, which is defense, that you defense real good?
Mm-hmm.
No, you Micah Parsons real good, which means you need another corner because that second spot has been a turnstile. I'm not sure that this is not my favorite one in the class. It's Christian Gonzalez out of Oregon. Gets started at Colorado, 6'2", 205-ish pounds. He's going to run like an absolute jackrabbit. He is to me, this is the number one corner in the class. Matt Miller, our buddy at ESPN National, said Christian Gonzalez is what you're being told Kelly Ringo is.
Mm-hmm.
I don't disagree with that. I don't. The only problem is that I've only got 1 year of that tape that good. He was a draftable prospect out of Colorado. Now, the argument there is, well, I could just avoid him because Colorado sucked. I get it. I get it. But I have a nice track record with even Kelly Ringo, with Cam Smith. I think Gonzalez gets pushed down. I think as you go down the rabbit hole, he gets pushed down in spite of the fact he shouldn't. And it pains me to say nice things about the Cowboys, but I'm about to. They've drafted pretty well lately, and I think this would be a home run selection.
Number 28, that pick belongs to the Cincinnati Bengals.
And this is a player that I'm not going to lie, I wish you didn't have to take him at 28. But what have I said for the last 3 freaking years? Jonah Williams is a guard, is a guard, is a guard, is a guard. It's Jalen Duncan, the offensive tackle out of Maryland. He is a big dancing bear. Now, there is a tape that does not make him look great, but there's a lot that do. And I just feel like Maryland asked him to do something that he's not. Maryland was very pass happy. Very pass happy. And when I know exactly what you're doing, because they couldn't run a greasy peg up a cat's ass. So when I know what you're doing at all times, and I have a talent superiority to you, it's easy to make you look less than you are. And that's what I saw on tape. I love Jalen Duncan. I think he's a day one starter. He pushes Jonah Williams to the inside. You got Lyle Collins and Alex Cappa on the other side, Ted Karras in the middle. End the message, repeat the line. Let's go. Who they think going to beat them Bengals?
Number 29.
The Denver Broncos. Andrew Voorhees. I told you there was a guard we were going to talk about before this was all said and done. Voorhees may be able to play tackle. I'm not sure. But there is some really high-level tape on him. I think he's an immediate day one starter at guard. I think he'd probably be an immediate day one starter at right tackle. Denver needs help on that line. There's a reason that Brett Rippin and the Terran came off the sideline tearing into an offensive lineman, because they sucked in large part in the 2022 year. This is one of the most pro-ready in the class. Can't tell you he has the highest upside. He may break the NFL combine record at the bench press. Mm-hmm. He is strong as a damn ox. He's really safe. And if you're Denver, that's what I'm leaning into here. I'm a hemorrhage draft capital-wise. I had to give up Bradley Chubb just to get this pick. So I need somebody that's safe. I need somebody that I know is going to be a starter for a long time, and that's Andrew Voorhees.
The Kansas City Chiefs have the 30th pick.
This may be the fewest snaps we've ever seen from a first-round pick. And I saw a mock draft earlier today that had this particular guy in the, I want to say he was 8 to Atlanta. It's Lucas Van Ness.
Wow.
He started 0 games at Iowa. Never started not one game.
And how can you have him projected in the top 10?
Because the raw, in the small sample size, holy shit. His parents didn't hug him enough or something because he is evil when it got. I think his parents had a little doll of a quarterback that they used to boop him in the face with because he friggin' hates quarterbacks. And he's, look, an elite pass rusher like this, he's situational to start off with. To me, you can't bring him in with the intention of him being a 3-down guy. He's never been that. So you're going to have to get him into, I hate to say game shape. I'm not saying the kid's out of shape. I'm just saying the rookie wall's a real thing. And I think he's going to hit it aggressively if he goes to a team that expects him to play 50, 60 snaps a week. Kansas City does not expect that. They'll stick him next to Chris Jones and Karlaftis and say, see ball, get ball, 25 snaps a game. And then you broaden that out, and 3 years from now, this looks like the best pick in the first round.
Number 31, the Buffalo Bills.
This kid is so damn talented, and I considered him at 13 to the Jets. That's how good the talent is. Problem is there's so many players at this position. It's Brian Branch out of Alabama. To me, this is a movable Tyrann Mathieu type piece that you put in Buffalo. Could he be the ultimate replacement to a Jordan Poyer? Yes, he could. Can he be your immediate slot corner? Yep, he can. Can you just move him around and screw with teams? Because you got to understand, as the AFC, especially in the AFC, develops into this pass-happy Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, yada, yada, yada conference, I need somebody that gives me a schematic advantage. Brian Branch is that guy. There is the fear that you've seen the best of him because Nick Saban defenders tend to come into the league as ready-made products. Well, the good thing is for Buffalo, I don't necessarily need him to get better. I just need him to be a malleable piece that I can plug into the defense. And when things happen like this year and I have injuries, I can play him damn near anywhere. I think he can play outside corner. I know he can play slot, and I know he can play safety.
All right, the final pick of the 5th version of Flostradamus's mock draft at ESPN Draft Nerd on Twitter. Jeremy Greene, who do you have the Philadelphia Eagles taking?
Antonio Johnson, safety out of Texas A&M. You remember that thing that I just said about Brian Branch? The exact same thing applies to Antonio Johnson. Some people will say it's a hat on a hat with Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I don't agree. I think this is – now I'm even more malleable because I can put Chauncey Gardner-Johnson in the slot, Antonio Johnson over the top, and then I can flip him. And I can just disguise shit, and I love this kid. Between injuries and some inconsistency last year, that's why he's available at the back end of the first round. He's a better talent than this. He's a top, I want to say he's my 20th ranked prospect in this entire class.
Mm-hmm.
A, you're a safety. B, not all of the tape last year was exactly what I wanted to see. But I've seen the raw, and for Philadelphia, you get the 5th-year option on a kid that I think can get exponentially better. Because conversely, how many defenders have we seen leave Texas A&M, get to the NFL, and get better since Jimbo Fisher's been there? This kid could do the exact same thing.
All right, we are the Sportsocracy, and we're always coming to you from the Ingles studio. And don't forget to tune in with us every afternoon, Monday through Friday, 3 to 6, live right here on YouTube and on ESPN Asheville on the iHeartRadio app.
And feel free, no matter where you saw your team's pick, whether it was TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form, in the comments, if you want to say you love the pick, if there's a guy you think that would be better, throw it in the comments. If you want to call me a big mulleted dumb fuck, feel free. Just please, fuck only has one K and a C. Spell it right. Just maybe run it through a grammar check, because if you tell me you're stupid, Y-O-U-R, don't be shocked when you get a grammar lesson there, Peckerwood.
While you're here, hit that like button, share it out with your friends as well. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you can join us every time we are live from the Ingles studio. We'll see you next time.